Hey there gamers, welcome back to the Board Game Co channel, and today we have a preview of Clandestine. Hey there gamers, it's Professor Meg here, and welcome back to the Board Game Co channel. Today we have a preview of Clandestine. Thank you to Brickspun Games for sponsoring this video, and with that, this is a prototype copy in front of me. All of this is not the final version with the rules and components, all of that subject to change. You can check out the Kickstarter link down below because this is actually already fully funded. They're still active, but they are fully funded, and you can check everything out, especially the different societies that they have planned, because I only have a 2-player game set up in front of us, and the game drastically changes depending on the number of players that you have. You can go all the way up to 5, so definitely check out everything that they have planned. Now with that in mind, Clandestine is going to be a rondel game where you're playing as these different secret societies, and you're trying to ascend to a higher level. So you start at level 1 and you're trying to reach level 5, and the first player to do so will trigger endgame. But that doesn't mean that they'll necessarily win. You're trying to have the most intrigue among all of the different societies, so after endgame scoring, if you're the one that has the most intrigue, then you will be the one to win the game. Now you can see I have set up here the Mariners Union and the Serpent Keepers, and these are 2 of the societies that you'll be able to choose in the game, and here is our general play area. Now there is the sidewalk where everyone has access to, and then there are the different quarters for your different societies. So you can see the Serpent Keepers are here and the Mariners Union is over here, and depending on the number of players, the shape of this is going to change. So when you have 3 players, it will be a triangle, etc., and you will build out this different board so that this center section is always available to everyone, and you will also be looping around your different societies as well. Now, players are going to be moving around this board using different actions that they're activating depending on the different strengths of the number of workers that are there, and then they will disperse the workers around the board. Now this center rondel works clockwise, whereas your different societies are counterclockwise, so you can see where it can be fun that people will enter in and then be able to leave in the rondel. Now this is how you're going to be taking all of your actions, but your player board is going to give you a ton of information, some free actions that you'll be able to do like alchemy, and it's also going to give you exactly what your level is and what you need to achieve the next level. So for example, we have our Mariners Union here at level 1, and their hand max for secrets is 3, whereas they're able to have 5 relic cards, which for the Serpent Keepers over here, you can see that that's actually opposite, where they're able to have 5 secrets but only 3 relic cards. Now we'll get into what all of those cards mean in a second, but you can see that the cost for them to get to the next level is the same, which is 8 coins and 4 of a specific card type. Again, we'll get into that in a bit, but you can see that that's how you'll be interacting as the different player boards. But you can see that that is the general thing that all players are working toward, which is moving up in these different levels, because reaching the 5th level will trigger endgame and get them an extra nice bonus. Now let's go over the core actions in the game that are available for players to use with the different leaders. Now there are public leaders, which are these white tokens, and there are also public followers, which are these gray ones. They are going to stay here in the sidewalk and need to stay in these gray areas, but they will still provide power to the different actions that are taken. Now there are also these universal followers, which can go anywhere, and there are also your leaders, which are only able to go into your society area and not an opponent's society area. Now all leaders are worth 2 strength, whereas the followers are worth only 1 strength when you are calculating the different actions that you are taking. So for example, over here where we have fundraise, we have a public leader, so we would be able to use this public leader to activate this action, and then you would have a 2 strength from them, 1 strength from this universal follower, and 1 strength from this public follower, meaning 4 strength. Now with that 4 strength, you would be able to gain 4 coins, 4 money from the bank, and then you would have to move these around the board. Now leaders are moved last, so first you would have to choose which of these 2 you would place here. Now these universal ones are great for the opponent, so I think I'll drop that one off first, and then you'll continue placing these through around the board, making this discover action pretty strong for the next player. Now, Discover is going to be where you're able to gain relic cards, which we'll talk about what they do after we talk about all of the actions, but this is how you would be able to purchase them. Here, looking at this Discover action, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sixth strength on this action, meaning that we would be able to purchase 6th strength worth of these relics. Now they do have their cost, but each of these spots also has an additional cost where this row is +1 strength and the top row is +2 strength. Now this will cycle through, but this is how you will purchase these cards, adding them to your hand, but keep in mind you do have your hand limit. Again, if you were to use this action, you would then pick up all of these and move them along the board. Again, pretending that this is the yellow player now taking the action, they'll drop them off in this order, with the leaders being last, now making this discover action the strongest one in the sidewalk area. Now those are the actions in the sidewalk, but looking down here at our Serpent Keepers, there is a reveal action. Reveal is going to have you draw your secret cards equal to your strength divided by 2. So where right now we only have one leader here in this spot, we would be able to move them here forward to take this reveal action, but it would only gain us 1 secret card to draw. Now, your secret deck is going to be over here, and it's going to start at level 1 when you start at level 1, but as you progress and ascend to further levels, you'll actually add cards to this deck, shuffle them in, and then draw 2 additional secret cards. So you'll get more and more throughout the game, but that is where you would gain them throughout those reveal actions. Now, you can see that the Serpent Keepers really like doing this, which is why they have 2 of these available. Now, throughout the game, players are going to gain chaos tokens, which are going to be added to their player board, which will eventually make them weaker and weaker. Once 5 chaos tokens are reached, you are locked off from using your alchemy abilities, so this does get pretty bad, but you do have your purge action, which is how you are going to be getting rid of these. So when you take your purge action, you're going to remove chaos tokens equal to half of your strength. So right now, if we had 1, we would be able to use this leader, move them forward, and remove this chaos token. And then you are also able to move around some of the pawns that are on the board. So again, you would have your strength, so we had 2, it would become a 1, and then we would be able to take one of these followers and move them either out of our sidewalks into our society or over here. So we'd be able to choose one of these or one of these, and we can move them down in, or sorry, we couldn't do that. We can move this one to over here, or we would be able to move this one down into here or forward. Now finally, there is an ascend spot. That's how you'll be ascending and moving up in your level, and what you are able to do is pay that cost that I said in the beginning, where you would pay 8 coins and 4 of a matching card type, which we're going to get into exactly what that means now. So looking at your secret cards, if you were to draw one, there is a type that is provided for it. So you can see that this is a green type, which is the rod. And there are also the types here. So to be able to progress to the next level, if you were the Serpent Keepers here, you would need 4 of the same type of this icon. Now, the icons do stack, so for example, if you got these gilded knuckles, that would be great, because now you already have 3 symbols working toward that. So to be able to ascend, you would pay the money cost and the symbol cost. However, the strength that you have on that area is going to help you reduce one of those. You can either use your strength, which right here would be 3, to either cut that in half and then reduce that for the symbols you would need, meaning we would have enough right now to be able to do this if we had 8 coins, or we could use it to reduce the money cost. Now once that happens, you will ascend over here and you'll be able to move this forward so that you are now level 2. As I said, you'll shuffle in your level 2 secret cards and then draw 2 secrets, so you have even more added to your hand. And then additionally, you're going to be able to get these rewards from the Ascension board. So if you are the first player to do so, you would be able to take this token here, showing that you were the first one, which will get you some points at the end of the game. And then additionally, if we used the green symbols to be able to do this, we would be able to select one of these 2 tokens to be able to use for their ability. Now these tokens are going to provide either endgame scoring, immediate effects, or things that you are going to be able to add to your different actions to make them a little bit better. Now, additionally, when players reach level 2, they will gain a conjunction card. There's always the number of cards for the number of players plus 1 available in the game, and whenever a player reaches level 2, they will be able to choose one of these. Now, you might notice that this area looks a bit like your society, and that's because they give you a configuration that you're trying to work toward, because you're also able to play these relic cards down into your society. So, where they want you to have a certain configuration of the symbols that are showing, when you are able to do that, you are able able to get a stronger ability, which is honestly pretty cool. Now, you are able to play cards, these relics, down into your society with your different alchemy actions. These are actions that you're going to be able to use every turn where you place your alchemy token in here, but you'll need the required thing to be able to do it, to be able to take that action. So the one that I placed on down here is actually going to allow us to get more leaders. So that's going to have us get to have even more in play on the board, increasing our strength and increasing our flexibility for which actions we're able to take, but that's going to cost us energy to do so. Now we are able to pay money to create energy, so you can see where the alchemy board is really important, but here in the middle you are also able to pay energy to place those relic cards into your society. So you need to be able to do that to even play one into your society, but after that you can also play it to exchange cards that are in there, so you're not locked into what you chose if you end up getting a conjunction that doesn't match exactly what you've already started with. Now you might have noticed there are light and dark relics as well, and the dark relics are only able to be placed in the center of your society, deep into your inner sanctum, so they are a bit more powerful and more expensive, but they are also limited to how many you can have in play because they are pretty cool. Now, to give you an example of what these different things will do, this is augmenting this particular reveal action. So if we did have a leader here where we were able to take this reveal action, we would take the action, but then after that we are able to place pawns in any order when moving. So you can see where that really changes the actions that you have within your particular society and can make it pretty cool, the things that you're choosing to do. Now players are going to be summoning more leaders, and there are also different points where more universal followers are added to the board. So the board is going to get stronger and stronger in strength, and you're going to have your different society actions that you're going to want to take those because you're augmenting them and making them a lot stronger with your different relics. But then you're also going to see different situations on the sidewalk where you have to take advantage of the strength that is set up, because if you let another player continuously set up actions for themselves, they're going to have some pretty strong turns. This is going to be a constant battle of seeing what's available and not wanting to set up your opponent for too much success, but also wanting to take advantage of it for yourself and go to your own society as often as possible. Now, as far as the asymmetry in the game, the different societies do have their different boards, and you can see that they favor different actions. So this one here has 2 reveal actions, whereas the mariners over here have one of everything and being pretty diverse. Also, as I noted, the different societies have different hand limits and things like that, and their deck of secrets is going to be what really makes them feel extremely unique, because you're going to be drawing as many as possible, and you're able to play one per turn after deciding which leader you're going to activate, but before taking your action, so that can really change a lot of what you're doing throughout the game. Now, one other thing to note is that gaining these relic cards is going to be absolutely huge, because the ones that you are paying to ascend, you are also going to get endgame scoring for. So I'm going to go over endgame scoring now, but as I said, the first player to reach level 5 is going to trigger the end of the game, and then all players will have a turn besides that player, meaning that everyone will have a final turn. But the game will also end if the relic deck is ever emptied. That does seem pretty rare, but just note that that is another way that the game could end. So players will be gaining intrigue points throughout the game, so they will be getting some depending on different special actions that can trigger it, but a lot of your intrigue points are going to come at the end of game scoring. So your final level will be squared, and you will get those as points at the end of the game, and then you will also get points for any of your cards that match your conjunction. So you'll get 2 points for any that match the conjunction that you chose, and then you will also gain points for any of your dark relics that would score you endgame scoring. So they would give you endgame scoring based on certain conditions. You would add up those points as well, and then you would also get the points for the relics that you spent to ascend. On top of that, you would get points for the secret cards that are still in your hand, and you would get points for your society leaders that are on your society path. So summoning all of them can be really, really important. And then you also get points for any universal followers that are on your path. After that, you'll add up the intrigue tokens that you actually had, plus any of these that are also endgame scoring. And then you will also lose points for your chaos, so you want to be sure to heal off as much chaos as you can before the end of the game, because that will also cost you points at the end of the game. After that, you'll find out whoever has the most intrigue, and that was the most influential society that did ascend and show themselves a bit more, but they were also able to be the most influential and gain the most intrigue. Now, as I noted, this isn't always the player to reach the level 5, so you definitely have to ascend quite a few times in this game to get more powerful, get some of these ascension tokens, but you don't necessarily need to be the player that triggered endgame to be the player that wins. Clandestine is going to be a pretty smooth rondel game with a healthy dose of set collection. Now, both these secrets and the relics are going to be extremely important depending on the faction that you're playing. You may lean more towards one or the other, but that's going to be the strongest part of the game where you're really going to be working toward those. But the mancala style puzzle of how you're moving the different workers around is really going to be something you want to pay attention to, because you really don't want to set up your opponent for a very strong turn, and you want to be sure you're able to take advantage of anything that's set up for you on the board. Now, there is a ton of replayability in the game, as I said, both with the different societies that you're able to play as, all of the different decks that are shuffled through and come out. There are a ton of relics here, but it also changes a lot depending on the number of players that are in the game, so you can also see how the board really changes depending on the different playgroups that you are able to share this with. Thank you to Brooks Fun Games for sponsoring this video. You can check out their link down below to see everything that they have planned, and thank you all for watching the Board Game Co channel. I've been Professor Meg, and I will see you all next time. Bye!